All right, in this episode, we talk about when pitchers should start lifting.
Now, damn it.
All right, this is Brent Porcio, Stephen Godani, the @TopVelocity #Pitching Tips show, where you go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and you ask your question, anything on pitch, anything we do here at Top Velocity, @TopVelocity #Pitching Tips, and we're going to answer it here on this show. And we're here at Alex Box at LSU watching Adam Garcia pitch for Louisiana Knights. So shout out to Louisiana Knights. And if you're watching this and you haven't done it already, I want you to share the video, subscribe, whatever you can. We want to keep this going, so we appreciate if you could like it and help us out. So what's our question for today?
William Goodman asks, what would your advice be for a pitcher just starting to lift?
Great question, because I don't think pitchers start early enough. I think a lot of pitchers that come to the camp, 17, 18, thinking it's now time to start lifting, when at the same time you're trying to find a college to impress. I think that's way too late. But if you're already there, it's never late. Too late? No, never late than...
Oh, sorry. I don't know.
What is it? Keep going.
Better late than never.
Better late than never.
Wow, that takes a long
I'll have
time.
to edit that one. But it's better late than never. So the point is of course, we can't go back in time. You need to start lifting. But if you can start as early as you can, guys, start as early as you can. I know in this culture we think 16 is when we should start, but if you look at the European cultures, the Asian cultures, the Middle Eastern cultures, they start 8, 7, 6 years old. And I've done an article on it, and there's no science that says it's hard or bad for growth plates for youth, but hey, we will start light at a young age. We are not going to start heavy. But that's the thing, is when you start, your focus needs to be on technique. Your main focus would be on technically learning the proper technique of all the lifting. And if you can get into an Olympic-based program, I would highly recommend that, and that's where technique is very important, and it takes a high level of commitment, and it's very challenging. So the younger you can get into some type of Olympic training, that's going to get you so much farther ahead of the game when you get 16, 17, when everyone else thinks they should be starting, and you're actually putting on some weight and starting to build that power to weight ratio that we talked about in the importance of it in the last episode. So starting as soon as possible. If you're watching this and you're thinking you should start, you need to start yesterday or start now. And you need to get the program like the 3X Pitching Velocity program and watch the videos, or come down to 3X Velocity Camp and learn the technique and hone that technique at a young age, so then we can start building strength and power once that technique is set in. What would you say?
Yeah. Especially with I just think it's funny, the pitchers like starting at the young age. I always think of the 6-year-olds, like the Russian kids that are just like look like they're on steroids. But that's just, But I think like a big testimony of it of when you start lifting is you look at a lot of football players that like start their freshman year in high school, and then by the time that they get to college after 4 years of lifting, a lot of the times they're a lot better athletes. Like even when I was in high school, some of the best athletes on our team were always the football guys, because they would be doing heavy strength training and stuff like that. They'd be doing power cleans, learning to get explosive, and they'd come back, they'd be the guys throwing harder, they'd be the guys hitting the ball farther. So I think that's a big testament to when they're coming in as freshmen, they're starting to lift, they're getting bigger and stronger at that time. And then you even look at it up to the combine. Like, I know baseball doesn't have the combine, but we do have a study that showed us some of the averages that they collected from professional baseball players, and the average professional baseball player was jumping 28-inch vertical jump. And then guys from the combine, you see them, even guys that you take that are similar size to the baseball guys, they're jumping 33 inches, 34 inches, 35 inches. So they're getting these a lot more athleticism, they're bigger bodies, a lot more athleticism, and then it's like, if we had been training this way for baseball players, by the time you get to college, if you'd been training through high school, think of the athlete that you could have been and the power that you could have brought to it. So that's honestly what pisses me off a lot too, is that I'm just like, wow, I wish I had started weight training when I was in high school, so that who knows what kind of athlete I could have been by the time I got to college.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I think we all, once we get and we start reaping the benefits of strength and conditioning, more specific Olympic-based strength and conditioning like we do in the 3X programs, we all say, man, I wish I would have started this early. I don't think I've ever heard anyone not say that. Once they start to see it and how effective it is, and they get addicted to it because they constantly get more enhancement, more velocity out of it, that it becomes something of, man, I should have really started this younger. And I think that's the thing. If we could drive home in this video, start young, but hey, learn it technically first. Don't push the weight. Studies show at a young age it's better off doing light weights. It's better for the body because the body has to mature, has to build the tendon strength, it has to build the bone density to handle it, and it takes the light weight to stimulate that.
Yeah, but it's never too late for guys that are older, even if it's not like if you missed it in high school, like you missed the window. That's a good window to be in if you're still at that age. It's really good to jump into that. But if you missed that window, it's not over. Like, you could still dedicate time to training, like, and still turn yourself into a beast. It might be a slower process, but it's still same kind of thing. If you take someone from high school with that 4 years of training, if you still add 4 years of training when you're older, you could still turn yourself into some kind of freak athlete.
Yeah, I mean, I was the example. So I was 18, tore my rotator cuff. I didn't weight train because baseball told me that wouldn't help me on the field. And because I had torn my rotator cuff, I was like, hey, who cares? Now I can do whatever I want because I'm damaged good and doctors say I'll never play again. So I fully committed to an Olympic-based strength and conditioning program. And 18 to 24 years old, 4 good years, I went from maybe mid-80s at best before the surgery to 94 at best at 24 years old, getting a chance to play independent minor league baseball. So yeah, I started at 18, 19. And yeah, it wasn't ideal. As far as my age really hurt me trying to get a chance to play affiliated ball, but I did get a chance to play some independent ball and play in Europe is because I actually got there, but I got there at a later age, but that's still, I got the time and I got to live the dream, I got to taste it. And I really, in the process, I got to build a great program that it's now the 3X Pitching Velocity program, and really kind of bring this out to the baseball community like we're trying to do here, and cut through the conventional wisdom to really prove that baseball isn't telling you everything. It's ignorant to a lot of things, and one of the things it's really ignorant to is how to lift and how to enhance your velocity with your training off the field to a level of something like I did, low to mid 90s or better. And that's why I say you start now, because I've seen kids really mature themselves quicker than their genetics would have because they started lifting early and they started lifting right.
And position players too. Like, it's not just pitchers. Like, if you're doing this stuff for position players, we had studies that were showing that the guys who had the biggest home run totals, the highest slugging percentage in the minor leagues, they were testing their power outputs, and they all had the highest power output. So we're training power output. So it's the same thing for position players. Like, you guys got to be training this way too. That's gonna get you not only throwing harder in the field, it's gonna make you faster, it's gonna make you hit harder, it's gonna make you throw harder, it's gonna make everything better.
And I'll throw this out there, I'll make a prediction. Bryce Harper's your MVP, and he's got a 375 pound power clean.
And a 405 back squat.
And a 405 back squat. 375 power clean. Unbelievable. And look what it's done for him at the top level of the game at a very young age. All right, so that was a great question. All right, if you have any other questions, please go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, @TopVelocity, #PitchingTips. Ask your question, and we're going to answer it on the next show.
Voice.